Hey guys, we're going to do another game in this. I just kind of aborted one just now, partly because the good game was absolute rubbish. And okay, so we're going Black Knight's Tango, and the dog was choking in the background. Okay, so we're rated 861, opponent's rated 862. We have the Black Knight's Tango, and this is actually the best move from white because it prevents pawn e5. So, what do we do here? I'm thinking e6. Yeah. Because I don't really want this move, but it also gives my knight a square here, right now. In the lots of Indian games, you want to pin this knight on the king. If a3, you'll just trade off. Give them an isolated a-pawn. We're now ready to castle. White is not. Now, the big question, to kick or not to kick. I could also bring my bishop back just to break the pin. It feels a bit passive, but if it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do. If I kick the bishop, let's kick him. Let's kick him. Okay, and now I should probably take with the queen, I think. Take him with the queen, puts 2 attacks on his, we've defended twice. There's no dark squared bishop to annoy me. The knight can't come and attack my queen because it's in a pin, so... Wow, okay, big center. Knight's still pinned. If I push on, doesn't really work. If I castle and he pushes, I can't even come forwards. So I think we should carry on with development. Okay, so he's really extending in the center there. This knight is still in a pin. He has a light square bishop to develop, so I think if I play like queen f5, that bishop will come out. Of course, come here, which actually prevents the bishop from coming out. If the knight comes there, attacking my queen, I can step forwards. This is still pinned. So this bishop's kind of tied down as well, because if it develops here... Now what's to stop me doing this? Rook there. It's a classic kind of queen trap thing, isn't it? Having said that, I'm somewhat out of squares. If I go here, bishop can't take. If here takes en passant, then I capture with the queen. I'll take with the queen, the knight's still pinned. He attacks me now. I can't take the pawn because knight defends. I could just come up. Okay, now I can take with the queen, right? The knight can't attack me, the bishop can't attack me. This knight can't attack me because of the configuration. And the knight can't actually move either because of that. Right. So now I'm thinking I want to enable this bishop. So does it want a fianchetto? Could it be blocked off on the light squares? There we take. Knight comes in. The other route into the board is this, which means moving the d-pawn and the e-pawn. If I was to play d6, I think I like my bishop on the long diagonal, so I think that's the strategy. Still not in danger from any of these minor pieces that are developed. Rook defends f2, obviously. Right, I think the purpose of this move is fairly clear. It is to develop the queen and to try and come in with a mating attack. So, what do we have? This is not actually checkmate because I have king f7. If the bishop comes in, I can run away again with the king. This is also not checkmate. In fact, he's still 2 moves away, so can I prevent, for example, the queen coming here? Well, no, I can't bring my knight to either of those 2 squares. What if I bring my knight around? Queen comes here. I can't put my knight there. I could maybe put my knight on f5. Let's have a think about this. Knight there, queen here, knight f5. Doesn't actually do much apart from blocking the queen. My knight would be better on f8, but it can't get there in a hurry. What if I just push a pawn? Wait, I also have g6 potentially. Or knight e7, queen here, then g6. Now I'm kind of loath to push the pawns in front of my king, but it is relatively safe. Now, it does maybe have knight e5, which also looks at g6. I could push d6, which is kind of the plan. d6, queen comes here, g6, the knight can't come here and can't come here. Okay, so we're looking at opening up the bishop here. I think, okay. Now we trade off. I've got quite a few pawns on dark squares here. Okay. Now, I'm thinking bringing the knight back. The knight has no forward prospects really there. Can't go to any of these squares. So knight back here. Knight back here, he brings his queen up. I can push g6. There's no point trying to sniff around this pawn, I don't think. I could think. So the bishop. Let's see, he goes there. I think I can still just kind of hang fire, because if the queen should come in, and come here, queen or bishop to g6, the king just runs away, stepping on the dark squares. But I think connecting the rooks makes a lot of sense right now. Maybe even bishop here. But now I'm going to fianchetto. I think I'm safe enough. There's no checkmating attack. This is not a major threat. I have g6. I could even like pre-run away with the king. Queen here, we could trade, bishop there. Knight here, queen comes in with check, king f7, neither piece can go to there. This is only a semi-attack. My rooks are connected. I'm covering this square twice, and neither of those pieces can go there. So back she goes. So what was the point? Right. I could mess up his pawns now. If queen takes, we trade queens here. He's then got 4 pawn islands. This is how his pawns would be. Let's do it. I think this gives me enough to have an advantage in the ending. Okay. Now, look at these bad pawns. Plus his bishop can only see the light squares, whereas I have a knight that can see every square on the board. I'm wondering if I should centralize my king. Yeah, I think moving the king, because that comes with an attack, discovered attack on this pawn on f3. The king could come here. Could find himself checked, but then that. Okay, that actually loses a pawn, but this pawn also hangs. So this bishop can't come in and attack. Bishop comes here. I have c6. The knight also defends these light squares, so I think king d7. I've renewed my attack on this. Okay, that's coming off to my rook. So the simplest thing here is just to put the rook on the dark square. And he's also defending this, so a decent move. Put the rook on the dark square. So his bishop is now tied down to the defense of a pawn. This is what we want. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pawns, all of which have to be defended by pieces. So the king defends 2, the bishop defends 1, now I'm not going to take here, because that undoubles these pawns and gives him a nice pawn in my face. I'm going to leave that there. This pawn is now, all these light square pawns are in the way of the bishop. I might seek to double up my rooks. Okay, is he thinking about pushing here? But I can't really take there with a rook and trade a rook for a pawn and a bishop. Don't want to do that. Like this. c5. If he takes en passant, I can take with a knight, leaving him with bad pawns. The point of this is to prevent the progress of these pawns. There he takes en passant, I take with a knight. He could trade off, but I'm still better. This pawn advances, okay, so we'll take with a knight here. So I haven't prevented the progress of these pawns. Okay, and he's traded off his bishop, but I remind you, 4 pawn islands. What's more, none of these pawns, not one of them can be defended by another pawn. So then I think it's Pac-Man time. I could also have the idea of playing king c5 now. That gives him time to defend 1 pawn. So here he pushes. I can't take with this pawn because this rook will hang, but I might just even just do this. So I go there, he pushes, I ignore it. I could take with this pawn, but that hangs this pawn. I take, he pushes, I ignore, rook bf8, and he really needs to prevent rook taking there. Or is it king c5? King c5 attacks this pawn, so he's got 2 attack pawns. Okay, king c5 it is. He can attack me with a rook though. But that would hang the pawn. Okay. So now I believe we can capture here safely. Rook bf8. He's got to defend with the rook. Okay, this is a hanging pawn. That's undefended. It's looking pretty good, and he resigns. Okay. Right, let us go and analyze. Okay, so here is the review, and pretty tight game on the whole. There's a mistake here on my part. Opponent played at 1450 and played the opening really, really well. So let's just go through quickly. All book. Good. E6, I'm happy with that, being a book move. And we pin the knight. They pin our knight. Kicking is a book move. Good. This is inaccurate. Is it saying pawn takes is? Oh no, throwing in the knight capture. Interesting, but marginal difference. Okay. E4 is inaccurate here. And I shouldn't have castled. Okay. Pressing on. Okay, there's 2 attackers, 2 defenders. Yeah, just applying some pressure in the center. Okay, that's a bit passive, and it allows this move. Okay. So queen g6 is good. Simply retreating. Marginally better. Doesn't really matter. Okay, and yeah, I'm pleased with that. Takes, queen is best. Okay, and we're very, very balanced here. This is not great, because it's allowing knight e4, I guess. Better move here is again to trade the knight off. Yeah, just get rid of the piece that could threaten my queen. Right? Meaning that my queen is still in the middle. Got 2 attackers on that pawn. That does make sense. Yeah, so I didn't ask the question, what could my opponent do? That's improving the knight. It's a tempo move, centralizing the knight. There's no pin anymore. So, you know, what's my bishop doing there? Quite honestly. Okay, and this is a mistake. This is my mistake. Should have taken the knight again. Because this allows knight there, queen retreats, and my opponent just solidifies his position. Oh, that's interesting. So why shouldn't the queen take here? That is now an equal position after I take on d4 and fork these. Now I'm technically only a pawn down at this point. Hey, sorry, I just had to take a call there. Okay. So yeah, that's interesting. So here, actually, sacking the exchange is best. Even after, you know, the queen's threatening to come in here with check, we don't have to worry too much about it. Queen takes. Yeah, then basically that's interesting. So it's a fork on the 2 attacking pieces, therefore eliminating, and also the queen can't come here or here. So just completely snuffing out white's attack there. So fascinating move. Okay, so this is a miss. Now we do trade finally. Yeah, so basically as soon as they castle, I think you can, that's one to remember, that you can just kind of trade off. And from this point, so here actually, yeah, white is still better apparently. No, they're not. Okay. So not bringing the knight round was fine. This is okay, that's a forced move, and the queen retreating, unnecessary. And now we just trade off, and we're just in a slightly better position, and now it's just a case of kind of grinding it out. This was not the best move here from white, but also that wasn't my best move either. What should I have done? Okay, just blocked. If they take, we take. You know, this is kind of what happened in the game anyway. And that was a miss. Should have lifted the rook first. Okay. Okay, and this was really the game-losing mistake, because now we're just in a better position. So what should they have done here? Okay, so they've still got a fighting chance at that point. Yeah, giving up the bishop just didn't work. Anyway, so yeah, from this point we just we win fairly easily. So, but yeah, definitely. I mean, look at that, 1450 from white. I played more solidly throughout the game at 1650, but yeah, I mean, how do we feel about this opening? It's definitely a lot more on the positional side. It's definitely something that I'm not that used to playing still, but it's okay. It's okay. I think it's yeah. We'll stick with it and see how we do. So yeah, I hope that was you picked up one or two things from that, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.